Let me begin not with theory, but with a quiet observation. Every human being, at some point in life, realizes that the mind never truly rests. Even when the body is still, thoughts keep running like background music in a crowded marketplace. This restless inner movement is exactly where the entire science of meditation begins. In the classical Indian understanding, meditation was never invented to make us feel calm for 20 minutes. It was created to solve a much deeper problem, our constant identification with the mind. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, this is stated with almost surgical precision. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodhah. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of consciousness. That single line already tells you something important. Meditation is not about adding anything new. It is about subtracting noise. It is not about becoming special. It is about returning to what is already present beneath thought. Patanjali's system assumes something radical yet simple, that awareness and mental activity are not the same. Thoughts arise, emotions rise and fall, memories surface, desires appear. But behind all of that, there exists a witnessing presence. Meditation is the disciplined method of separating these two. The moment awareness stops being hypnotized by its own content, freedom begins. Within this yogic framework, meditation is not practiced in isolation. It comes after ethical alignment, bodily stability, breath regulation, sensory withdrawal, and concentration. By the time one reaches Dhyana, the mind has already been trained to some degree. Dhyana itself is described as an unbroken flow of attention towards an object, not forceful focusing, not a strained effort, a continuous stream of awareness as oil poured from one vessel to another without interruption. When this flow deepens further, even the sense of I am meditating dissolves and Samadhi arises. The observer, the process, and the observed merge. The purpose here is very clear: to realize Purusha, pure witnessing consciousness, independent of mental activity. Meditation serves as a bridge between psychological discipline and metaphysical realization. It weakens old conditioning, dissolves subconscious impressions, and gradually breaks the illusion that we are our thoughts. Stress reduction is merely a side effect. The real outcome is existential clarity. But Patanjali's yoga is only one lens. When we turn toward Buddhism, meditation takes on a very different philosophical flavor, even though many techniques look similar from the outside. Sitting silently, watching the breath, observing sensations, yet the inner conclusion changes dramatically. Buddhism does not lead you to an eternal witness. Instead, it leads you to the insight of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Buddhist practice traditionally unfolds through samatha, which cultivates calm and concentration, and vipassana, which cultivates insight. In vipassana, one observes bodily sensations, thoughts, and emotions with naked awareness, not to find a hidden soul, but to see directly that everything arises and passes away. No phenomenon stays, no identity is fixed. Even the sense of me is revealed as a moving process rather than a solid entity. Here, meditation serves a different purpose. It dismantles attachment by showing the transient nature of all experience. Liberation, or nirvana, is not union with an eternal self, but freedom from craving. This is where yoga and Buddhism part ways. Yoga assumes a permanent witness. Buddhism denies any permanent self altogether. Same silence, different metaphysics. Then comes Jainism, which brings yet another perspective. Jain meditation is deeply rooted in the idea of karma as subtle matter that binds the soul. The soul, according to Jain philosophy, is eternal, luminous, and inherently pure, but it becomes weighed down by karmic particles accumulated through action and intention. Meditation here is not merely observation, it is purification. Jain texts describe several types of contemplation, ranging from destructive emotional states to the highest form known as Shukla Dhyana, pure meditation. Only the higher forms lead towards liberation. Modern Jain practices like Preksha meditation emphasize awareness of breath and internal sensations, much like Vipassana, but the goal is distinct: to burn karmic residue and free the soul. Moksha occurs when karma is completely exhausted. Unlike Buddhism, Jainism strongly affirms the existence of an eternal self.
Now notice something fascinating. Yoga says realize the witness. Buddhism says discover that there is no permanent witness. Jainism says purify the eternal soul. Three traditions, three conclusions, one common laboratory: direct inner observation. Meditation becomes even more integrative in the Bhagavad Gita, where it is woven together with devotion, action, and wisdom. Krishna does not teach meditation as a retreat from life. He teaches it as a balanced discipline embedded in daily responsibility. In the Gita, meditation is compared to a lamp in a windless place, steady and unmoving. But this steadiness is supported by ethical living, moderation in food and sleep, selfless action, and devotion to the divine. Here, meditation serves a relational purpose. It aligns the individual with cosmic order. It is not just self-realization, but God-realization. The yogi becomes centered, the devotee becomes surrendered, and the householder learns inner stability amid outer chaos. Advaita Vedanta adds yet another dimension by turning meditation inward through self-inquiry. Instead of focusing on breath or mantra, the practitioner asks, "Who am I?" Thoughts arise, sensations appear, emotions flow, but the inquiry continues. Who is aware of all this? The purpose is to recognize that Atman and Brahman are not two. Meditation here is not concentration, but disidentification. You stop trying to manage the mind and start questioning the identity that feels owned by it. So what exactly does meditation do across all these systems? First, it regulates attention. An untrained mind jumps endlessly from one object to another. Meditation teaches it to stay. Second, it transforms identity. Slowly you stop defining yourself solely through thoughts, roles, and emotional patterns. Third, it reduces suffering by exposing unconscious habits that keep repeating beneath awareness. Every tradition agrees on this much. Ignorance of our true nature is the root of suffering, and meditation is the method of seeing clearly. Yet it is equally important to understand the limits. Meditation does not automatically heal trauma. It does not replace therapy. It does not solve social injustice. It does not override biology. Classical traditions were very clear about this. Meditation was always embedded within an ethical discipline. In yoga, without yama and niyama, dhyana can strengthen the ego instead of dissolving it. In Buddhism, without moral conduct, meditation does not mature into wisdom. Inner silence without ethical grounding becomes spiritual bypassing. This is something modern wellness culture often forgets. Meditation was never meant to be a productivity hack. It was designed as a radical inquiry into consciousness itself. And now comes the most interesting part. Despite their philosophical differences, all these traditions converge on one truth. The mind, when unobserved, enslaves. The mind, when observed, liberates. Whether you call the final realization Purusha, Nirvana, Jiva, Atman or Brahman depends on your worldview. But the mechanism remains consistent. You sit, you watch. You stop running from inner experience. Slowly, awareness disentangles itself from thought. Yoga says you discover the witness. Buddhism says you discover there is no permanent self. Jainism says you purify the soul. The Gita says you align with the divine. Advaita says you realize you were never separate. Different maps, same inner journey. Meditation, therefore, is not one technique. It is a family of inner technologies shaped by metaphysical assumptions. Breath awareness, mantra, visualization, self-inquiry, loving-kindness, body scanning. Each serves a specific psychological and spiritual purpose. But beneath all forms lies a single movement, turning attention inward with honesty. If you ask me what meditation truly is, stripped of all philosophy, I would say this: it is the courage to sit with yourself without distraction. No entertainment, no escape, just an awareness meeting experience. And that is not easy. The mind will resist, old memories will surface, restlessness will appear. This is not failure, this is the process. Meditation does not create disturbance, it reveals what was already there. Over time, something subtle happens. You begin to notice space between thoughts. You respond instead of react. You witness emotions instead of drowning in them. The grip of identity loosens. This is why meditation has survived thousands of years across multiple civilizations. Not because it is mystical, but because it works at the deepest psychological level. So when people ask, what is meditation really for? The most honest answer is this: it shows you what you are not until what you are becomes obvious. If you believe there is an eternal witness, meditation reveals it. If you believe there is no permanent self, meditation confirms that. If you believe karma binds the soul, meditation burns it. If you believe you are divine, meditation uncovers it. Meditation is a mirror. What it reflects depends on the framework you bring. But regardless of tradition, one truth remains unshaken. Awareness, once awakened to itself, changes everything. Not dramatically, not overnight, quietly, from the inside out. And that, perhaps, is the real miracle.
If these videos make you pause, if they make you think, if even one idea here touches something inside you, then please consider subscribing. I'm not a big channel. There's no algorithm magic working in my favor. Every video you see here is created with intention, reflection, and a genuine wish to help people understand themselves and the world a little better. Your subscription is not just a click. It tells YouTube that this kind of content matters. It tells me that this work is reaching real hearts, and it gives this small channel the strength to grow. I don't promise entertainment. I promise depth. I promise honesty. I promise conversations that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. So, if you believe in conscious thinking, emotional healing, and inner evolution, subscribe. Let's grow together, one mind, one heart, one step at a time. Thank you for being here.